Hey, Dirty Blondelorian, aka Chris here. Today I'll be breaking down how I created this shot from idea to setup to final edit. Let's go. As soon as I had Human in hand, I loved the figure and I wanted to shoot it. That was a while ago. Life gets in the way, Better late than never. I knew that I wanted to use multiple figures for this shot. A lot of my recent work has been single figure shots, and so I wanted two figures, Human and whoever's ass Human was about to kick. I set up Human battling a Dark Templar from Mythic Legions. I used a diorama I've been working on that is 90% finished. It still needs a final wash and some more little touches, but 90% was enough for this shot. I had two lights, a key light at about 45 degrees in the front, a backlight at about 45 degrees from the back of the figures, and one bounce card. Pretty simple stuff, pretty simple setup. I shot with my Canon EOS RP, my usual camera, with an 85mm prime lens. That's my usual lens. After going through all the photos I've taken and picking which ones are worth editing, I do my first edits in Lightroom. I first decided if I like the white balance of this shot, I usually do. Then I pick a color profile. Adobe Vivid is one of my favorites, and for this photo it worked very well. Then I set my blacks and whites to get a good idea of the tonal range of the image. I then go to highlights and shadows. I usually desaturate a little because I find this combined with the tone curve adjustments I make later usually results in a very cinematic look. Otherwise it looks oversaturated after I do my tone curve adjustments. I then go to detail, use some masking so I'm only sharpening what I want sharpened, and bring up the sharpening a bit. Shooting at ISO 100, I usually don't have to do this too much. For the tone curve, I like to do some sort of S-curve. For this one, I did a pretty exaggerated one, really dipping in to the darks and shadows and cutting off the highlights. I find the pure blacks, plus having the highlights cut off, really helps the photo pop. Your mileage may vary. I also did a little color adjustments, boosting the warm colors a little. I also adjusted the calibration, moving the greens and blues to be slightly warmer, while upping the saturation of the reds and blues. I'm still, experimenting and learning how calibration works, to be honest, and this was one of those times. Finally, I add a slight vignette, and then it's on to Photoshop. I didn't do a ton in Photoshop for this photo. I always duplicate the photo into a new layer, just in case of mistakes. I use the dodge and burn tools to make certain highlights and shadows a little brighter or darker. I find that adds a nice final touch to the image. In this case, I made the highlights in the face a little too bright, so I masked them out. I then added a gradient map, selecting colors from the highlights and shadows of the image. This is basically a way to color grade the photo for a unified feel or look. I set the gradient to soft light and lower the opacity to 15%, so the effect is very subtle, but still pleasing. So here's the final shot on my website. My website is the best place to view my photos because I can make sure they are huge, showing them in all their glory. Of course, I also uploaded the photo to Instagram because, what else are you going to do in 2025? Upload to Flickr? All apologies to Flickr. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions in the comments. Always looking to learn more. Later.